An oil tanker ran aground today off the nation's northernmost ice-free port, Valdez, Alaska.
One of the worst oil spills in U.S. history brought Americans images of blackened beaches, dying wildlife, outrage, and betrayal.
It's an oil slick now covering some 600 square miles of the Gulf of Mexico, and it could start reaching the United States coast within hours.
One of America's most magnificent waterways is blackened and befouled tonight by the biggest oil spill in American history.
240,000 barrels, 11 million gallons of Alaskan crude oil escaped from the...
This is with regard to the construction of the Keystone Pipeline, something that's been in dispute, and it's subject to a renegotiation of terms by us. We're going to renegotiate some of the terms, and if they'd like, we'll see if we can get that pipeline built. A lot of jobs, 28,000 jobs.
The safest energy investment, both economically and environmentally, is renewable. Yet Trump has bypassed all scientific evidence and advice for supporting the sector and signed an executive order to expand offshore oil and gas drilling both in the Arctic and Atlantic Oceans. This signature essentially dismantled Obama's sustainable legacy. Arctic-based drilling is extremely hazardous for a plethora of reasons. Spills in the Arctic are especially dangerous because the year-round cold waters allow for little circulation, which translates to minimal natural cleansing of the habitats that have been affected. This extended presence of oil on the surface of water prolongs the harmful effects on animals in the area. Drilling in the Arctic also has the potential to create hotspots which can melt the permafrost in the area, releasing thousands of pounds of methane into the atmosphere, a greenhouse gas with a major warming potential, 25 times higher than that of carbon dioxide. Warming of the atmosphere can translate to higher water temperatures, which can lead to coral bleaching and the disruption of both habitats and species. One drilling platform normally drills between 70 and 100 wells and discharges more than 90,000 metric tons of drilling fluids and metal cuttings into the ocean. Produced water is fluid trapped underground and brought up as a byproduct of oil and gas. It makes up about 20% of the waste associated with offshore drilling, leading to nearly 2 billion gallons of produced water being released by the Cook Inlet in Alaska. Each year, these 2 billion gallons of produced water release about 70,000 gallons of oil into the surrounding marine ecosystem. In addition, the exploratory process harms many ecosystems. Seismic waves used to locate oil can harm sea mammals and disorient whales. For example, ExxonMobil had to suspend exploration efforts in Madagascar after more than 100 whales beached themselves in 2008. Factors other than flumes can affect marine wildlife as well. Exploration for offshore oil involves firing air guns, which send a strong shock across the seabed that can decrease fish catch, damage the hearing capacity of various marine species, and may lead to marine mammal strandings. Oil slicks affect wildlife by coating their bodies in water-repelling gunk. Since it floats, all sorts of marine animals, even birds, can take a hit. And fish sometimes mistake the floating slick for food, and so are attracted to it. When birds' feathers get coated in oil, they lose their ability to trap air and repel water, meaning the animals can't maintain body heat. The result is hypothermia. Marine animals such as sea otters, which depend on their clean furs to stay warm, can also become hypothermic. Offshore oil rigs may also attract seabirds at night due to their lighting and flare, and because of the fish that aggregate near them. Bird mortality has been associated with physical collisions with the rigs, as well as incineration by the flare and from oil from leaks. This process of flaring involves the burning off of fossil fuels which produce black carbon. Black carbon contributes to climate change as it is a potent warmer both in the atmosphere and when deposited on snow and ice. Drilling activity around oil rigs is suspected of contributing to elevated levels of mercury in the Gulf of Mexico fish. The infrastructure required to drill wells and transport offshore oil can be equally devastating. A series of canals built across Louisiana wetlands to transport oil has led to erosion. Along with the destruction of the state's marshlands caused by drilling efforts, the canals have removed an important storm buffer, possibly contributing to the damage caused by Hurricane Katrina, where busted pipeline spilled more than 53,000 gallons of crude oil into the surrounding marshes. The petrochemical plants built nearby add to the negative effects. According to the U.S. Department of Energy, 1.3 million gallons of petroleum are spilled into U.S. waters from vessels and pipelines in a typical year. And with the recent political aspirations, the Mineral Management Service predicts that there will be no less than one oil spill a year of 1,000 barrels or more in the Gulf of Mexico over the next 40 years. A spill of 10,000 barrels or more can be expected every 3 to 4 years. Analysts for the Oil Spill Intelligence Report have reported that spills in that size range have occurred in waters of 112 nations since 1960, but certain areas see more spills than others, with up to 41% of oil spills occurring in or around U.S. waters. In order to combat some of these negative impacts, there are multiple actions that can be taken by the average person. If you're concerned about the future of the environment and want to take initiative, consider some of the following options. Call your congressman or woman and make your concerns known. Protest the drilling of oil in the Arctic. Run for local office. You can even boycott the use of unsustainable energy.